I have recently upgraded my platform and I want to know whether or not I have wasted loads of money on a CPU upgrade or whether I was right to do so and that I did have a CPU bottleneck. Let's find out. I recently upgraded my platform to the AM5 platform. This is my first time ever going with AMD. I have been Intel for the last 6-7 years, and before that I had laptops, they always were Intel based. So this is my first time trying AMD. There was a couple of different reasons for upgrading my platform. One of the reasons was I felt like I needed a little bit more power when it came to content creation and video editing and things like that. The other one was I was almost positive that I had a CPU bottleneck. This was a video that I did a few weeks, maybe a couple of months back about CPU bottlenecks, and realizing that my frame rate wasn't increasing how I expected it to made me think that I may have a CPU bottleneck here. My first thought was, damn, 10th Gen i9 just ain't enough anymore. Which to me is absolutely mental, especially considering that Ultrawide 1440p, I did not think the CPU bottleneck, if there was one, would be noticeable. But was I wrong or was I right? I don't really know. So I'm going to test it today. I've got a load of benchmarks from me using the 10900K. So today I'm going to compare them against whatever benchmarks I can run for the 9900X and actually find out whether or not I had a CPU bottleneck, or whether or not I've imagined it and I've upgraded and wasted a load of money for no reason whatsoever. I know which one I'm hoping for. My idea is that I'm going to test the average and 1% lows across these resolutions and have a look at what kind of uplift we get compared to the 10900K, if there is an uplift at all. I'm going to be testing 3 different resolutions, 1080p, 4K and ultra-wide 1440p. The reason for the last one is because that's the resolution that I game at and that's the performance metrics I'm most interested in. I want to see what impact upgrading the CPU has had on my actual gameplay experience. Spoiler alert, I have been using it for the last month and I have noticed no issues whatsoever. Every game has been buttery smooth and ran really, really well. If I'm honest, the only resolution I think we're going to see a difference in is 1080p, and that's because the 5080 is such an OP card for 1080p that you're going to see massive gains when you have a generational leap in CPU performance. What do you guys think though? Do you think there's going to be much of an increase? Do you think there's going to be an uplift in other resolutions? Let me know, drop a comment down below. But why does it matter? If I'm completely honest, it doesn't. And this is a lesson that I should be pushing out there, that it doesn't matter if you've got a CPU bottleneck. As long as you're enjoying the experience, and you're getting the kind of frame rates that look smoother and enjoyable for you, it doesn't really matter that much if you've got a CPU bottleneck. Yeah, you're not getting all the performance that you've paid for, which sucks, but especially at current RAM prices and stuff like that, if you can't afford to upgrade your CPU, don't worry about it. Just carry on using it as you was. You was enjoying it before, so why bother? The only time really a CPU bottleneck is going to be an actual issue is when it is a severe CPU bottleneck. It can get to the point where having your CPU pegged at 100% across all cores can cause some real issues when you're using your PC. And it means that if any background processes randomly just start working, start spooling up, it could affect your in-game performance, which causes hitching and stuttering and things like that. So it's always a good idea to have a little bit of headroom with your CPU, but unless it's a severe CPU bottleneck, that's very unlikely to happen. Right, so there's a lot of numbers that are going to come at you right now. I'm only going to put them up for a few seconds each, so if you want to look at them, just pause and have a look at the graphs, and then I'm going to go through them in a minute. So you will see benchmarks for 1080p, 4K, and ultra-wide 1440p. The 1080p and 4K results, I've only got 3 games for the benchmarks because they're the results that I had from a previous video, and the ultra-wide 1440p, I think we've got 6 games in total. In the results, these settings are a little bit different. So with 1080p and 4K, I've done it at ultra, or very high for CS2, and then in the ultra-wide 1440p, I have used settings that I would use when gaming, which is mostly high settings. Usually I'd have a mix of high and ultra and then turn on DLSS quality if I've got that option, but I haven't done any of the benchmarks with DLSS enabled, so I've just gone for high across the board so we can see what relevant uplift I get in performance at the resolution that I play at. So starting off with the average FPS, and as you can see, it's quite a margin. The 1080p results are absolutely insane. Now, don't get me wrong, nearly every CPU on the market is going to be holding back a 5080 somewhat. It is an absolute overkill card for 1080p. But seeing a 50 to 70% uplift was not what I expected to see. I knew it was going to be a good jump, and I was expecting between 25 and 30%. 70%, 71% in CS2 is absolutely astronomical. I am incredibly impressed with that. And on to 4K, and the story is a little bit more surprising with 4K, to be honest, because I didn't expect to see any uplift above maybe a couple of percent, but a 13% difference in CS2 and a 6 and 7% difference in Space Marine 2 and Cyberpunk 2077 is a massive shock to me. I did not think at all that the 10900K would be holding back a 5080 at 4K, but apparently it was. Moving on to the ultra-wide 1440p benchmarks, and this is the one that I was most excited to see. And as with the 4K benchmarks, I'm incredibly surprised at what we've found. Now, we've got two games that did not give a flying fuck that we have changed the CPU. They are basically exactly the same as with the 10900K, taking into account run-to-run variants, and that was Doom and Starfield. So if we take them out of the equation, because they didn't care in the slightest, we've seen quite a measurable uplift in the rest of the games. A massive 68% uplift in CS2, and the smallest uplift we've seen was a 24% increase, which is absolutely mental. And we obviously had a much more significant CPU bottleneck than I thought. And now we're on to the most important numbers, which is the 1% lows. These are the numbers that matter. These are the ones that make sure that your gaming experience is smooth. The 1% lows specifically denote how smooth the gameplay experience you're getting. And these are the numbers that matter. And at ultra-wide 1440p, our 1% low numbers were really, really impressive. We have gone from 37 FPS to 95 FPS in Hogwarts Legacy, taking this game from a stuttering, hitching mess that I was unwilling to play to now a very smooth gaming experience that may actually make me play this game a lot more often. We've also seen increases in Oblivion and Starfield, meaning their games feel a lot smoother and a lot less choppy. Oblivion especially. The way that Oblivion is rendered and the way that it works, the Unreal Engine 5 seems to struggle a lot, and it can be quite a difficult game to run. The 1% lows, in my experience, have always been very, very choppy and inconsistent with the 10900K. But it looks like the CPU bottleneck being alleviated has actually solved that issue. So the 10900K just wasn't able to keep up with the 5080 in Oblivion, which was causing my performance issues. And now I have no excuse, and I can play as much Oblivion as I like because it feels so smooth. And that leaves us with the conclusion. So the 10900K was obviously a much bigger bottleneck than we was ever expecting compared to the 9900X. A lot of these numbers surprised me a lot, especially the 1% lows in ultra-wide 1440p and the minor gains that we got in 4K I did not expect. I knew there was going to be sizable uplift in 1080p, but again, I didn't expect there to be over 70% increase in any of the games we were testing. Going to a 9900X seems like it was the right choice for me. Not only that, but whilst I've been using it, the content creation and video editing performance has been amazing. I am thoroughly impressed with this 9900X, and one of the things that I was worried about was reliability and stability, and I've had no issues with either. In fact, the only thing that I can say against the 9900X is it runs quite hot, but then all modern CPUs seem to run quite hot, so it's not really a 9900X issue. That's a let's redline every CPU out of the box kind of issue. It's also worth mentioning that some of the uplift and some of the gains that we have seen in these FPS numbers is also going to be down to the PCIe generation bottleneck that we had. Before, we was running the graphics card on a PCIe Gen 3 slot, and now it's running on a Gen 5 slot. From the little bits online that I can see about this, that could equate to between 2 and 5% of the performance, but maybe I'll do some testing later on in a future video to see how much of that FPS was down to the PCIe slot. If you enjoyed the video, please feel free to watch one of these two. Let me know your experience with CPU bottlenecks down below in the comments, and hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. Hopefully, I will see you on the next one. Bye!